We have an excellent connection. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I don't know what happened.
That's a first.
Oh, wait. I need to do this first.
Yeah.
It says we have an excellent connection. If y'all say we're buffering, I'm going to just die out laughing. I don't know why we have an excellent connection.
Go for it.
Okay. Got a lot of people in here tonight. Woo! All right.
Slide down in the chair.
No, you can't go to sleep. Get up.
I've been working all day. I've been going. I left here at, I don't know, 5 o'clock this morning. I just got home a few minutes ago.
Yeah, he's tired.
I'm tired.
He said, man, I don't know if I can make it through a live stream.
Oh, but hello everybody. I have been sitting here for a few minutes because I just ran in here and sat down, didn't know what time it was. And
We had to fix stuff because I didn't have it done.
Yeah, Miss Wanda didn't have nothing up and running, so I came here and fixed everything. And when I sat down, I'm pretty much planted. I didn't get up to go anywhere. And I got to reading a few of the comments along. And, oh, we got somebody from Okinawa.
Oh, hello.
Bob Hutto. Bob, my uncle was a missionary to Japan, Okinawa, on a military base there for 17 years. Wow, that's interesting.
We're looking excellent. Thank you, Kathy. I got to show you.
Oh, yeah, we got to show you something. We had some visitors this week.
Kathy put up a video.
Can you?
That's probably as big
Can't
as I
turn
can
it
get.
sideways?
I don't know. Can I turn it sideways?
You should be able to. Look who showed up this week.
Mills. Kathy and Mickey. You guys, if y'all need electroculture rods, they still in business.
They still in business. You know what? I would order my electroculture rods now and go ahead and get them because I've got a sneaky suspicion that copper is going to go through the roof. And Mickey and them, you probably going to have to get on a waiting list because they are
they may have to
up.
raise their prices if that happens.
Well, they're probably backed up right now. And
we're going to be using the electroculture rods in the greenhouse this winter.
Yes.
I already have some in my greenhouse and some in Danny's. We put the I put 4 or 5 in the strawberries, and so far the slugs are staying out of them. So that's a big, huge plus for us. We've tried several things, even copper pennies and stuff, but it seems to still stuff happening. But we're going to be transferring strawberries, what, in a month and a half, something like that.
Well, in November we transplant all of our strawberries.
Supposedly, we're supposed to.
Supposed to, anyway.
We'll see. These strawberries has been 3 years and we ain't moved them yet.
Well,
every November we get busy with something else and we just hadn't moved these strawberries. But this year they're gonna get put into different. I'm gonna put some in the green stalks. We're gonna do the vertical planting with the strawberries. They did pretty good last year with them, and then I've got
hello, Suzanne.
an electroculture rod in my greenhouse by my crazy pepper, and it's already like 5-6 foot tall.
Oh yeah.
And it's got peppers everywhere, so it's doing amazing. And what else did I put it by? I can't remember. There's something else in my high tunnel that has it, and I don't remember what it is. Maybe some of the flowers and stuff. They're just going crazy right now after that hot, and it's still hot. How hot was it today?
Today got up to 103 heat index.
Yeah.
Which I worked all day through it. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I had a fan on me where I was at. I was able to, kind of stay pretty cool. I mean, it got hot, I'm not gonna lie, but the fan blowing on me, I'm getting really close to getting this big job taken care of where I can relax for a while.
Somebody was asking, what is it with the 3 foot copper rod? Do you have to have that?
Well, I think it depends on how big of a coil you want to make. I mean,
we did some in our
garden. I used some 4 foot copper wire in my garden. I wrapped it around a electric fence rod.
I don't know if I have one of Kathy and them's in the house. They're all in pots and outside.
We have them all used, and we probably need more because I've been doing electroculture for over 30 years, And I'm a firm believer in it. I mean,
we've never tried the little rods like Kathy and Mickey made.
No, I never had done the little coils.
And they were awesome this year.
Oh,
Danny's always used the long straight.
I've always used the long rods.
Or the fence, what do you call it, fencing?
Yeah.
The wire fence and the concrete wires and different stuff. The little coils are amazing because you can just stick them by the plant, but you got to know which side. You got to know north, south, east, and west, right?
Yeah. Got to know that.
You got to have a compass. And we grew some awesome stuff. We got videos. Kathy and Mickey have videos. We've had people contact us. They had excellent results with theirs. So the little bitty copper coils work really good. And so, I mean, either way, just so you use something.
Padonk says, will your tractor run the baler? The man that I got it from baled hay with a 25 horsepower tractor with it. So my tractor is 25 horsepower. He said the thing is you just have to go a little slower. He said, but it works fine. He said people use Super A's and Super C's with 20 horsepower to run them all day long. He said this thing about having to have big old giant huge tractors is not true.
That was a tractor company trying to sell tractors.
He said
probably.
Yeah, he said that's just the big boy in everybody. He said you can use those other tractors just fine. He said you just can't run out there like a speed demon, you know. And I'm not interested in being in that big of a hurry.
Yeah.
Actually, Jerry Baker, Randy, is where I learned about electroculture back in the 80s myself. I used to watch all of Jerry Baker's programs back then because I was a truck farmer. And I grew lots of stuff for markets and stuff like that. I mean, there was at one point I planted over 10,000 cabbages in one field that I harvested. I had acres of squash, acres of tomatoes, all this kind of stuff. And I used a lot of electroculture then, and people could not understand back then how I would have cabbage heads that weighed in excess of 10 pounds per head. As a matter of fact, they turned down a lot of my cabbage because it was too big and I had to have it ground up into coleslaw and sold that away.
Yeah. Soul to Soul. Hello, that's our neighbor in Perkinston.
Yep.
Somebody was asking about or saying something about the animals. Now the animals on the video belong to the man we got the baler from.
Yeah.
I was just, while Danny and him were talking, I was videoing little clips of the animals and stuff because it was so fun to just watch the dogs, and they were just walking around, not messing with anything. The cats were lazing around.
Yes, Greta, they'll work in Arizona.
And the chickens were walking around doing their thing. The field had burros.
They had
goats, horses, cows,
guineas,
chickens, guineas, ducks, geese. They had everything all in one field.
Yeah.
And it was all coinciding really well together. He had some nice grass. He has lots of hay because he bales hay.
Suzanne knows Mr. Parker.
Do you?
Yeah, she says he's a great Christian man. Great you found him. It definitely is a good thing. I get my hay from him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a really great guy.
Visiting with
him. Our visit with him was fantastic.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Somebody said Robin says loved the farm all cub. We had one on the farm, but we had only
a mower for it. Me and the old man worked on it a lot. I miss him working on tractors like that.
Well, Danny gets a kick out of working on old equipment and stuff, and you know, everybody has a hobby. Some people like to play golf.
Yep.
Some people like to go to the gym all the time. Some people, it's their grandkids and they take care of their grandkids and they follow them around. Or if you have kids, you're in all kinds of activities. His is he likes to deal with the old equipment. He loves wood. He loves to see wood come to life, and he loves to see old equipment be refinished.
I am a fanatic about making wood come to life.
And he loves it.
I love it. I can have visions when I see a log, like those cedar logs we had over there that I cut down on the old fence row by the neighbor's place there. those old cedar logs, I mean, I have visions for those things. I'm going at some point to make those come to life. We have them covered up under tarps right now so they won't get wet and they'll stay dry. They're up off the ground. You know, we have plans for that kind of stuff. And the old fat pine lighter treetop,
Danny put it out in the yard, and I want it in the yard out there. In that, we're going to put a fence up in the field, and I want that sitting by that fence because the cows are going to be out there, and then this will be on the other side. And we're trying all kinds of pots and stuff to see what grows. I want to test some pots out there, and I want to put them on that stump or that top, and let the vines and stuff grow. I just think it'd be an awesome thing added out there. He's like, I'm not sure where it's going, but
I don't know 100% where it's going yet.
I think that's where it's going.
Sky Angel says, what side do you put the electroculture on? We put ours on the south side. We have really, really good luck with putting it on the south side of the plant. And you don't want it to be no more than about 1 or 2 inches. Maybe, say 3 inches would be the most I'd put it from the base of the plant.
Somebody said they had made my cornbread. Good.
I did see that, yeah.
Delma says, still no rain in San Antonio, Texas. Some parts of Texas was getting rain. I did see that.
Yeah, the panhandle down through the central part of Texas, and the South Texas is fixing to get into a lot of rain too.
Rhonda remembers the bowls and spoons you made. She said they were amazing.
Yeah, I haven't made anything like that in a long, long time. I don't have that kind of wood anymore to make that out of.
Yeah, Lippy was at the house a couple of years ago, and she went through my lighter pile and she took some home. She's got it displayed.
Yeah.
Do we have a sawmill? No.
No, we do not have a sawmill. I almost bought one time, but I was like, as many things as I have to do sawing lumber, as much as I love sawing lumber, I love working with lumber, I just didn't see myself having time to do it.
Paul Ford says, when is the best time to plow under your peas to get the maximum benefit from the nitrogen fixers?
Once the plant, see, the thing about nitrogen in peas, the peas do not really give off their nitrogen until they die. You have to, the root system on the peas, they have to come to maturity and die. And then once they die, then the nitrogen is released into the soil from the roots, and you can plow them under at that time, and that works fine.
Oh, Miss Annette Parker said they're talking to Hill's Mill, but she said first time using your electroculture rod. She's put up 235 pints that she's canned so far, and she's not done. She says she's pulling the plants up to make them stop.
We did that. What was that we pulled our plants up on?
I don't remember, but we did some.
We had to pull our plants up. It was like them things will not. Oh, it was the round zucchinis.
Yeah.
Them round zucchinis we put electroculture rods by would not stop bearing zucchinis. I eat zucchini to the point I told Wanda, I said,
now it'd be nice to have one.
Yeah, I said, pull them stupid plants up. I am so tired of eating zucchini, you know, I mean.
Charlie, he has not been working on the meal yet. We have all the pieces for it. He's got to do the spout, and we're hoping for cooler weather to kind of grind corn. It's just too hot to be out there trying to grind right now. You really need some cool weather here. But we're going to show y'all when we do. Where would you put electroculture in a potato patch?
I mean, it depends on how big of a potato patch you had. Now, if you've got a field, yeah, you'd have to put them just sporadically around through it, and you'd have to remember where you put them at. I'd tie a ribbon on them or something where you wouldn't lose them. But still, if I had a bed of potatoes, I would put one 2 inches from each plant. I would put one 2 inches, go 3 foot, put another one 2 inches from the plant, and go 3 foot and put another one 2 inches from the plant on the south side. That way you'd be able to cover the whole bed and have a really good crop.
Suzette says, are we keeping the ants out of the high tunnels? They're carrying her pots away. So far,
we haven't had any trouble with ants right now.
I don't think we've had any.
With our pots, we put them up on the concrete blocks and we put a 2x12 up on top of the concrete blocks and put the pots on top of that, and that seems to work great for keeping the ants out.
Okay, and they're saying something about don't you have enough to do besides adding baling hay? Well, we're not going to be baling hay very often.
Right.
And Danny has a tractor with one of those grapples on it, so I done told him I ain't picking up bales of hay.
No, I mean, we have...
He can't either, so he can pick up
I can pick up the bales of hay with grapple. I can take a grapple and reach down and just lightly pick a bale of hay up and lay it up on the trailer. And we're not talking about baling hundreds and hundreds of bales.
We're talking just a few at a time.
Yeah, so we'll probably bale maybe 50 at a time, something like that, and then stop.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to be baling for the public
a little bit later on, we'll bale 50 more, and we just take our time, not get in no big hurry.
What fertilizer do you use on your onions? This is Glenn
Martin from Gulfport. Glenn, a lot of people may not like this, but I growed some onions that's out of this world. I put triple 13 in the ground. I bed my rows up. I plant my onions on top of it. And then once the onions get up and get going, I actually pour Miracle Grow around them once a week. And then once they start forming bulbs, I take a screwdriver, a big screwdriver, and I punch a hole down right beside that onion about an inch or two from it. And I put calcium nitrate down in that hole and cover it back up. I put that beside every onion, and I do that once a week while they're bulbing. And I'm going to tell you, it's amazing the results you get. Now you want to fertilize them as heavy as you can while they're making their leaves, because for every leaf on an onion plant is a ring on the bulb. So if you don't have many leaves, your bulb won't be very big. But if you have a lot of leaves, then your bulb will be really big. So fertilize them heavy while they're making the plant.
Yeah. Somebody says, what, you're not baling for a local feed store? No. And we're not milling.
No, I'm not milling corn
for a bunch of people either. We're only doing it for us and, some neighbors, friends that have corn in their fields that is non-GMO, that not something they bought in the store and want us to run through our meal. We don't want to combine the two. We only want people that raise their own corn, and it is not a GMO, or it hadn't been sprayed and stuff like that. What's the best way to grow roses so that you get rose hips?
Technically, it's a particular plant that you grow, I believe, to get rose hips.
Well, all roses have a hip on them.
I know it, but there is a particular plant.
The one that they use in most of your medicinals is a bigger hip, I think. But any type of rose, I mean, once they bloom, there's a little hip on them, Let's see. Camper Jack says, I picked Cherokee tan pumpkins today from the seeds I got from Wanda. I am so happy I got something even if there was a drought. Wow. We've got those volunteer spaghetti squash.
Those things are going.
They're going crazy.
You're going to have to show them a picture of them things. I mean,
I did in a video. I've got to go get pictures when I harvest, because I think there's 2 or 3 of them ready.
I've seen some yellow ones hanging on the fence.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure about them. They come from a hybrid seed.
I know. That's
I don't know what they're going to be.
Because, the Small Wonder spaghetti squash from Hall's Tools is a hybrid. But it produces abundantly, and it has a good taste. And Danny and I like them. And those seeds were in, I think I fed some seeds and stuff to the turkeys.
Hello, Eli.
So
I'm glad you're watching.
So where we at?
Okay, Laura Lamontero says, first time Asian pear harvest on property we have purchased, or when we purchased, tiniest pears ever. Any idea?
The drought may have had.
I'm not sure. Our
pears didn't do good at all.
Our pears didn't do good at all.
The Asian pear trees We still got 2 left.
We got 2 of them left, I think.
They didn't produce this year because of the drought, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, man, this thing is jumping my eyes. I'm having a... can I compost, Keith says, can I compost charcoal ashes? Well, that depends on what type of charcoal it was. Was it, did it come with lighter fluid already on it? Did you add lighter fluid to it? I mean, there's tons of things. And if it's just plain old charcoal, yeah, you can compost it. But if it's had other chemicals added to it, I might would, I might would rethink it.
All right, so Carolyn is asking, have you rototilled the corn stubble yet?
No, Carolyn, I have not. I'm going to be flat breaking it and turning it deep under the ground so it will rot underneath the ground and add more compost matter back to the soil.
Now, Miss Gail says she lives in town and can't shoot the squirrels. What can she do? They ate every pear off her trees and half of the tomatoes.
Well, you may have to trap them.
My dad trapped them.
Yeah, Wanda's dad trapped them all the time, and then he'd take them off in the woods somewhere and release them.
He would take them way away from his house because they were, like you said, eating pears and stuff.
Yeah.
And he got to where he was pretty good at trapping, because I think one year before he passed away, I don't remember how many he told, he caught a lot of them.
It was a pile of them.
He got pretty good at trapping.
Yeah.
You just buy a live trap where it
you can get Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply.
Anywhere like that. Most of your hardware stores.
Yeah.
So many comments went by, guys.
Somebody said you could use a pellet gun, Miss Gail. I mean, I don't know.
Pellet gun's what I use mostly on squirrels. It works fantastic, and it doesn't make a lot of noise.
Yeah, and you could use those in town as long as you're shooting up, not at neighbors. You have to be careful where you're shooting.
Grammy, Kansas said, I have a question about electroculture. My son-in-law only did 5 wraps, so we need to start over and just try to use some from the top and wrap a little more? I don't know how 5 will do, Grammy. 7 is what is on the ones that we got from Mr. Mickey, and they have worked fantastic. Now, I don't know if there's a science behind that or not, but I know that 7 has worked really great for us, and they have to be wrapped in a clockwise, direction.
Okay, can you tell me about turnip greens for a cover crop in 8A? That's Miss Darlene.
I use turnip greens for a cover crop all the time. I use turnip greens, I use mustards, I use kale, I use all those types of plants like that for cover crops, because the reason I do that is if we want something to eat, I can just go out there and snatch it up out of the cover crop and eat it. It's not something that we can't eat, so yes, I would say yes.
All right, Tim Holly says a squirrelinator trap will catch up to 25 at a time. His works great. So you might want to look at a squirrelinator trap and see what that is. Google it.
Keith,
Daddy might be interested in
Keith, I've already answered that question. I said yes, you can use the charcoal as long as it does not have lighter fluid on it.
All right. Where are we at? Can I compost? Oh, he's already asked about compost. You just said that. Okay.
Yeah.
What should I use for bait in her traps?
Just go to the hardware store and get you a bag of corn, whole kernel corn, and you can trap them suckers, left and right. You'll catch them suckers so fast. What do I think about Mexico aliens? Oh, you don't want to know what I think about it. As a matter of fact, if I went into detail about what I think about it, we'd probably get in trouble on YouTube.
Yeah, let's just don't go there. When do I plant my green beans? I'm in zone 10B. That's Nadia.
Nadia, green beans, we only grow them in the South in the springtime. We do not grow them in the fall. We just haven't had good luck in the fall because it's so hot that we have bug pressure on them when we plant them. And then by the time they get up in their 55-day period or 60-day, whichever variety you have, by that time it's done got so cold or cool till they don't really do good. So we definitely do ours in the springtime. This Keith must have been a troll or something.
I don't.
Because I've seen that question go about a dozen times.
Miss Lippy will get them. She's our little bulldog. Okay, how do I keep worms from eating the tops of my corn cobs? And any more Danny corn going for sale?
Okay. How do I keep worms from eating the tops of my corn cob? You can either, when it starts silking, you can put mineral oil on it, or you can spray it with spinosad or BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis. Any one of those will prevent the corn worm from getting into the top of your corn when it starts growing. We are not going to have any more Danny corn for sale right now. I have got to make my cornmeal, my corn grits, my corn flour, save my own seeds. I haven't even saved any for me yet. And then if there's any left, we will put some up, and you can't plant them until next spring anyway, so it's not a big deal. It might be October, might be November, might be December before I put some more up. I don't know. It just depends on whenever I get to it.
Jennifer and Chris, they're in DeSoto State Park, Alabama. They're in the mountains.
The mountains of DeSoto State Park in Alabama.
That's where they need to be, ain't it?
Yeah, all I can say, Chris, is you better hope nothing happens while you're up there, because you ain't going to never get home, boy.
You're going to make him run. Oh, Jennifer will be packing up right now, headed home. No.
No. Oh, well, I mean.
Can I plant purple hull peas in zone 9A?
Now, yeah, you can plant them right now. You got plenty of time in zone 9 to plant purple hull peas.
What cover crops can I grow in zone 8 besides clover?
Well, it depends on what you plan on doing with the area for later. I mean, you can plant winter ryegrass, you can plant wheat, you can plant oats, you can plant all that stuff for a cover crop, and it usually does real good. But now if you plan on gardening it, you better not do the winter rye, because you can't stop it once you get it going.
We don't usually grow any peas in the fall. We do have a pot with butter peas, right?
Yeah.
And
that's an experiment.
Yeah, that's our experiment over at Pecan Grove. And I looked at them today, and they are growing, so we're doing there.
Raw Food Writer says, Wanda, do you water bath canned meats? Why or why not? Thank you.
No. I don't water bath can anything but jams, jellies.
It has to
pickles.
has to be an acidic food before you can water bath it. Anything other than that has to be pressure canned.
A lot of people take chances and they do that. And I know, like, my grandmother and all them people may have done it, but they had a system down pat. Unless I talk to my grandmother or somebody from that era, I ain't doing it. I mean, I just don't. So I don't try. It took me a long time to can meats anyway.
Soil to Soil says, what do y'all amend the soil with for planting the bed of elephant garlic? I'm getting ready now. If you're getting ready now to plant your elephant garlic, I would put some blood meal in there, and I'd put it in pretty heavy. And I'd also put some bone meal in there, really heavy. And if you don't want to use organic stuff like that, then you can just use some triple 13 or some 8-24-24. Either one of them will work really good. But if you want to go organic, you need to put the bone meal and blood meal in there now, because you're only going to get about 8% of it up front, and then it'll take the next several months breaking down for you to actually get the benefits of the rest of it.
Miss Carolyn, yes, you can grow yellow wax beans in your high tunnel. Go back and look at some of my Crazy Days videos of of my high tunnel, I grew yellow wax beans and I harvested the fool out of them this year out of the high tunnel. Somebody was asked, and Mr. Robert wants to know if you're ready to start smoking bacon. Yes, but we don't have no bacon to smoke.
Well, it's too hot right now.
We would have smoked bacon months ago, wouldn't we?
Well, it's way too hot right now. We got to wait for it to cool off before we smoke bacon.
Okay, I want to show what Miss Lippy sent me. All right, Miss Lippy sent me this corn cutter. She said they work really, really well. You've got a grip here for your hand, and it pulls it down and it slices it. It looks like the big corn cutters that you have that you used to run them across. So we're going to try that this next year. And she sent this. Where is it? The all new ball book of canning and preserving. This is the big, thick one. Now I have several of the little ones, and she asked me did I have the big one, and I said no. And this one's got a lot of recipes in it. I done been glancing through it to see what was in there, and it's got a lot of good ideas. So thank you, Lippy. That was my birthday present from her that came in a couple of days ago. David and Nicole said they are seeing spoons in their persimmons in Missouri. Our persimmons
You'll be shoveling some snow. Well, we'll talk about that later.
I haven't cut none up yet, but I hadn't cut none open.
Angela says, my pecan trees like yours at Pecan Grove. Squirrels have left me nothing but scattered shells. Well, let me put it to you this way. I've eradicated about 42 squirrels in 2 weeks.
They're not, they come, but when they hear the ranger, they start.
They run fast, but I'm running wide open when I'm headed up there. And I look at them, they running through them trees. I get ahead of them and just knock them out of the trees. I'm telling you, I ain't never been so mad in my life. Now I looked and I saw blue jays starting to peck them out. I even took them birds. I said, y'all stupid birds, and started shooting at them. I said, get out of my trees.
Yeah. And you have to watch because crows will get them too. Yeah. So far they hadn't hit them, but Danny's staying on top of the crows too, trying to keep an eye on everything. Everybody's getting spoons in their persimmons. I guess I need to go get one and cut it open and see what we got. Let's see. Miss Allison said, I traded in my snow shovel for a big snow blower.
Yeah.
I would too. Why were blue objects untouched in Maui? I forgot what the deal was with that.
I can't go there.
Yeah, I remember hearing it, but we just ain't gonna.
They have limitations on YouTube now about what we can and cannot talk about, and I really can't go there.
All right, can you compost the black walnut hulls and wood chips?
The black walnut hulls, once they're completely dried on the walnut, can be composted down, but I would not use them green.
Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I guess we got a few trolls. Miss Lippy and Miss Allison will get them. Y'all just kind of let it ride and let them hit the trolls, and they'll get rid of them. Tim says, I took the crows that got all my apples and even had one in his beak. You had what was it?
I shot a squirrel who still had a pecan in his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, guilty.
He was guilty as all get out.
Yeah, you get rid of one squirrel and the relations show up. Yeah.
Yep.
We know we've got so many woods around, so we know they're everywhere. So we just have to watch. Should I be careful of what fertilizer my food has been grown in? That's Ronald.
Ronald Hagen. Ronald, plants do not know the difference in fertilizers. They don't know the difference in a synthetic fertilizer or organic fertilizer. They just don't know. It's not going to make any difference in the vegetable itself. You just have to watch if you use certain fertilizers that you salt content don't get too high in the soil, because if you put too much commercial fertilizer and you don't add enough organic matter back into it, what you end up is the salt content gets too high in your soil and you can mess the microbes up in the soil. I have mine checked yearly, and we add tons of organic matter into our gardens, and we do use commercial fertilizer because we plant fields. We don't plant just little small beds now, and we have to monitor it, but we also add lime and everything else that our gardens need to be able to produce and produce abundant. We use magnesium, we use zinc, different things like that that our soil test mentions for us to put back into the soil. We do use that stuff so that our plants get what they need in order to be healthy, strong plants.
All right, Nancy was wanting to know about the apple tree thing that was around my birthday. We're not sure if it's the day before the fall solstice or the day after or the day of. We couldn't remember. I thought it was before or after.
The day I did them was September the 21st, which was your birthday that year. But I don't know. But also the autumn equinox was on that day that year, so I don't know if it's based on the autumn equinox. If it is, then it'll be the 23rd of September this year. But
yeah, it had something to do with the equinox. It was not necessarily the day. You got to know the equinox. And what did you do to it? Do you remember?
I dug a hole 3 foot deep. I put gravel in the very bottom of it. I packed it full of green grass. Really green grass. I put a good bed of compost on top of it, and I cut a 1-year apple, they call them a water sprout, off of my tree, about 4 foot long. I cut a long angle on the end of it, scraped back the bark on the first 6 or 8 inches of it, just scraped it to where the cambium layer was visible, and I shoved it all the way down into the gravel at the bottom of it, and I poured water and watered it in real good, and my apple trees have been blowing and going ever since.
They're just now big enough that maybe next year they'll bloom. We're hoping.
We had some blooms this year, but the cold got them.
Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. What should plant next year where my pole beans were this year? What should I plant?
You can plant just about anything you want to behind pole beans, but
especially a year later.
Yeah, a year later, because pole beans actually put nitrogen back into the soil. Most people don't tell you that, but they do, and so you can plant basically anything you want. It's not a big deal with pole beans.
All right. Any advice on how to successfully grow broccoli?
Yeah, Angela, broccoli is one of those things you need well-drained, very rich, heavy nutrient-dense soil, and broccoli will usually take off and grow like crazy.
What is the horsepower of your Kubota tractor that you use to haul the trees that you cut down?
Mine is a L2501 Kubota, and that thing has been a workhorse. Now, of course, I've run heavy equipment my whole life, and I know how to operate equipment to make and get the most out of it, but it has really been a workhorse for me. There's been no problems.
Okay. Robert Mitchell says, my leaves are turning yellow on my cucumber plants with spots on them. What could be wrong?
Well, one thing, it's just getting to be that time of the year, Robert. Once cucumbers reach a particular age, that's just what happens to them. They turn yellow and get spots on the leaves. Sometimes they get powdery mildew. They've reached the end of their cycle.
How do you get rid of a hawk? Is that one of them birds you ain't supposed to shoot?
Yeah, you can't shoot them, or you can't in Mississippi. Let's put it that way. Or to put it this way, you're not supposed to shoot them in Mississippi. You're not supposed to even have them for a pet. You're not supposed to display the feathers. It's a huge fine.
Yeah, you can't even have a feather in your possession.
But the hawks, I'll be honest with you, the hawks never fooled with anything we had except white chickens. And if you put a black Moran rooster in with your chickens. Usually the hawks won't mess with them, even if they are white chickens. But the hawks keep all the lizards, the rats, the snakes, and everything away. We've had very little problem with hawks and chickens.
Yeah. Somebody said that Jennifer said they got her kittens. Wow. Why have my eggplants turned green? I don't know. Different variety, maybe?
I don't know, Kim. I've not had that to happen yet.
How long can you keep meat in the freezer and it be safe to eat like the meat you buy from a grocery store?
Tim, we've kept meat in the freezer for 2 years and it not hurt it.
But now if you buy something at a grocery store, repackage.
Yeah, repackage it. Don't just leave it in the original pack and throw it in there. Shrink wrap it or vacuum seal it.
Something.
Yeah, double wrap it in wrapping paper or something like that before you put it in the freezer.
All right, somebody says, do you think we'll have an early fall?
Well, it depends on where you live at in the country. If you live down here with us, probably not. But if you live above the 35th parallel, yeah, you're probably going to have an early fall this year.
Do I have a dynamite recipe for candied sweet potatoes? Not really. I don't usually candy sweet potatoes for the most part. We use baked sweet potatoes. Danny doesn't like things extremely sweet anyway.
Right.
And so we just bake them, and then he puts honey on them. So I guess that's candied sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And then I make his dessert, and when I make fries, we put salt on them. So, you know, I don't know. I don't have a candied one, no. Do you use borax as a source of boron?
No, that's, what is that,
Esme.
Esme's yield. No, we don't use borax as a source of boron. I really don't have any boron deficiencies in my soil. The best way to tell if you have a boron deficiency is if you grow broccoli and you cut the top off of it when you get ready to harvest it. If you look at it and the stalk is hollow on the inside with cracks in it, then you probably have a boron deficiency. But other than that, none of my soil tests have ever come back with a boron deficiency.
All right, Hills Mill's putting something up that says buy one, get one free if you mention Deep South Homestead. Okay, Kathy, you go ahead and tell me what we're talking about here. Let's see, when will Danny corn be available? You answered that earlier. After we get through taking our seeds out and processing our corn meal, grits, corn flour, we've got to know we have enough before we sell any more, because we had allotted just so many to sell to start with. Where are we at? They're talking about.
I'm sitting here reading as much as I can.
Eggplant and.
People talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm getting sleepy, y'all. My eyes are starting to cross looking at this. Miss Sleepy's putting up Hills Mill's website, so if you're looking for the electroculture coils that we're using, you can go there and get them. Does Danny make his own sausage? Yes, he does.
I make my own pork sausage.
We have several videos probably. I know one of them, John from Dirt Patch Heaven. When Dirt Patch Heaven was here, Danny and John were making sausage, and I videoed them. And then Danny and I have made sausage several times, and I'm trying to think, I don't know. We've made link sausage, and we've made patty sausage. They're talking about breeding pairs of rabbits. You buy one, get one free.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my goodness. That's funny.
Let's see. Where we at here?
Apple
butter is awesome with sweet potato fries, the Swisher family Homestead said. It sounds like it would be good. I wanted to tell y'all something. We talking about these geese flying around there together and are starting to flocking together. The trees are starting to turn. Burnham Mountain Mama says Wanda and I was at Pecan Grove the other day. We were standing outside, and I was running a chainsaw or doing something. And we stopped. I stopped to cool off for a minute. And we were leaning up against my truck, or sitting on the tailgate or something over there. And I heard this squeaking noise coming out of the sky up above us. And I looked up, and guys, robins were flying south over us by the hundreds. And Wanda looked at me and she says, "What does that mean?" I told her, I says, "It means cold, cold air is somewhere. It just ain't here, you know." And I don't know, are y'all seeing any robins flying south yet? Because I mean, there was literally hundreds of them coming over in groups, making that squeaking noise like, you know, robins make whenever they fly together. But I'm just curious. I'm just glad I saw that. I was going to ask y'all tonight, have y'all seen the same things happening? I am out of water. I ain't got no ice. Mine's just solid ice. Miss Lippy said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Danny, last week for us."
Well, that usually means cool weather, because I saw on I think one of my Facebook memories.
Yeah.
Something that we saw on last year or 2 years ago about this time or something.
Yes, Suzanne, we talked to Mr. Parker about making deer sausage and all that, and I told him I have my own facility here. We make all of our own sausage and bacon and our ham stuff. We do all our own curing here and everything. We got our own grinders and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But he told me, you know, if we ever wanted to, he does make deer sausage, that's for sure.
Oh, Miss Lippy has her new spice out called Trinity Spice. And y'all know, if you're a cook, that Trinity is your onions, celery. Okay, I forgot the third one. Onions and celery and bell peppers, I think. And then if you add garlic, what'd she call that? The Pope thing. Anyway, she's got her Trinity. It's a new spice out, so y'all might want to check that out. I did see she posted that this week. She's been working on the Trinity for a while to get it ready. How long do you leave your link sausage in the smokehouse?
Oh, when I smoke sausage or bacon or anything like that, it's usually only for about 4 or 5 hours. It depends on if I'm cold smoking or if I'm hot smoking. Now, if I'm hot smoking, it's usually about a 5-hour process and I take it out. But if I'm cold smoking, I might leave it in there 8, 9, 10 hours if I can keep the temperature cool enough.
My New Tennessee home said, "What's a good soft kernel field corn?"
Oh, a good soft kernel field corn? Probably be Danny corn and...
but they ain't none for sale right now.
Not right now. No, there's not any for sale. But I'm trying. There's a white corn, and I can't. Texas gourd tooth corn. If you can find it, it's a white corn, but it's called Texas gourd tooth corn.
Yeah, we're both yawning because we're very tired. We've been up all morning. Oh, her Trinity blend is called Full Throttle. I forgot. I just was calling it Trinity, but it's called Full Throttle. The Knit Queen Solo says last week they saw Canada geese doing practice flights in Massachusetts.
Ah.
So. Yeah,
robins and Vicky said robins and hummingbirds are already gone from Ohio. Wow. I saw a hummingbird today, and I told him I think he was fueling up heading south.
Mr. Danny, is it normal for my greenhouse to be hot?
Yes, reap what you sow garden. It is very normal for a greenhouse.
You need to put some
That's why I tell people
vents
to do high tunnels, because greenhouses get so hot because of the top on them is really low, and they heat up really, really bad.
Steve asked, "What's the best way to put up radishes?" Since Wanda can't grow radishes, I don't have any to put up. But I do like them roasted. Danny did help me make a few radishes a couple of years ago, and I like roasting them. I don't know how you preserve them. A lot of people are into fermenting them. So I do know they ferment radishes, but I don't know. I've not tried it. I've got to master growing them first.
Okay, Kissed by the Sun says, what can I put in the bottom of my containers for fruit trees? Should I just use all dirt? It depends on what you have available. I use corn cobs in some of them. Some of them I use gravel in the bottom of some of them. Some of them I put sand in the bottom of. It just depends on what you have available at your disposal. How much area do I need to raise 2 pigs? Howard and Renee Robertson says. Not a very big area at all. 24 by 24, foot by 24 foot by 24 foot. You can raise 2 pigs in that. You have to feed them, but you can raise them in that.
Somebody said the radishes are great roasted, just like potatoes. Yes.
Yes.
It changes them. When you bite into a radish, usually you get that hot, peppery taste. I love fresh radishes. I could eat them all day that way, but Danny doesn't like them. But I roasted them, and they turned sweet, like a turnip root or something. And he liked them that way. He really liked them.
Read What You Sow says, Mr. Danny, can I grow orange trees in containers? Yes, you can grow any citrus trees in containers. Ronald Hagen says, what is your favorite version of the Bible? I don't really have a favorite version of the Bible because all of them have been tampered with. I have like 26 different versions of the Bible here,
but we grew up with King James.
We grew up with King James version, but the King James has been tampered with so much in the last 100 years. So much of the wording in it is not even the same as it was in the original. And I have Jewish Bibles, I have Hebrew Bibles, I have proper name Bibles, I have, the King James Version, I have the 1611 original King James Version.
The New King James.
I have the New King James Version, I have the Apocrypha, I have, I could just keep going. I mean.
But the King James is what we grew up with, and that's what we recognize for the most part. But you just have to be careful, because if you go to the bookstore now and buy a King James Version Bible, it might or might not be altered.
Might not be. Yeah.
Danny and I were talking about this yesterday. I said I wished I had an older version of the Bible, maybe 50, 100 years old, to make sure, because you don't ever know. They could change one word, and if you, like we memorize things as kids, and now when we see verses posted somewhere,
we don't read
they're
that
not
way.
Like we remember them. And then when you go pick up a Bible, it's not written like we remember it, and we're like, how come we memorized it as a kid if it was wrong? What was the purpose?
Yeah, a lot of people now, the Mandela effect is very, very, very accurate, because I went back, like Wanda said, as kids we memorized Bible verses. And I went back and picked my Bible up and looked, and my Bible doesn't read that way anymore. It is totally different. And so, like Wanda said, we need to find an old version of, like I said, a 50 to 100-year-old Bible that we can go back in and look and make sure and put ours side by side to see what has been changed in the New King James versions. Because just because it's a King James version doesn't mean it hasn't been tampered with.
Yes, because they know that most people in the last 100 years, that's the one that they flock to.
Yeah.
So in print, if you see it says, I don't remember, I was looking at something today and it said something about from the King James Version, but then it said 1962 edition or revision.
Most of them say
like that.
Most of them will say the revised edition.
Yeah, 1962 revision or revised edition. And I'm like, why did they have to do something in 1962? Why would they revise it in 1962? So what does that mean? Because it's all in the wording when you start looking into things like that.
The Empress of Jennifer from SWC says the lion and the lamb is different now. That's one of the things Wanda and I talked about.
That's one of the things that freaked us out.
Yeah, because we memorized it a different way.
Yeah.
If you want to start reading anything, somebody said if they want to start reading, start with the book of John. that's probably your best book to start in the New Testament, or the Brit Hadashah. It's just a good place to start. I mean, the book of Matthew is written to the Jews. I mean, it's got a lot of genealogy in it. I wouldn't suggest starting there in the beginning. I would read John, and then if you want to get some more in depth, go to Romans. Romans will start explaining a little bit about what's going on in the world and where we're at today and stuff like that. And just it's really more of a preference than anything else.
Yeah.
Carol says, I like my Hebrew Bible. I am a Christian. I love my Hebrew Bible
Danny
also.
likes his also. My daughter, I believe, has a copy of it's over 100 years old now. It was from the late 1890s or early 19 to 1910. We couldn't pinpoint exactly what year the Bible was, but it also had all the missing books in it. And it was one that my ex's mother, her mother had. She swapped as a kid. She traded an old man a little small Bible for that big family Bible. And she kept it all those years. And, I think she's got it. It's an awesome Bible. I used to love to sit and read on it.
Jennifer Ann Fox says Romans chapter 1 is our world today. And you would be 100% correct.
Yes.
That's the reason I told them if they want to know about where we're at today, go read the book of Romans. The first chapter of Romans will blow you away as far as where we're at today in our society.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting close to our...
Richard Jones is right. Says if you don't trust the King James Version, try the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible is a really good Bible also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lots of different versions. I mean, it just all depends on you as an individual.
Yeah, and like I heard one person say recently that if you read, no matter what version of the Bible you read, if you listen to God, He'll put the right words in your heart there. So don't get too hung up on some of it. But yes, there is different translations, different meanings, it changes some words.
Yeah.
But listen spiritually.
Right.
Whichever one you decide to use. Which Hebrew Bible do you have? I don't remember. Do you know what it's called?
I don't know the name of it right off the top of my head. I have my grandmother's Bible from the late 1700s. It's very fragile, but glad to have it. We have the original 1611, and the name Jesus is not even in the original 1611.
It's written
totally different. It's spelled I-E-O-S-U-S, and it's very difficult to read because it's written in Old English. And
a lot of people throw a fit about I only read the 1611 King James. No, really, you don't.
You don't read the 1611. I promise you.
If you had the 1611, we have a copy here, and believe me, you have to study to know because we don't speak Old English.
No.
So words were changed with your Bible that you have now that says King James Version is a revised edition because you don't speak Old English. And so a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, it's very, very it's very difficult. Very difficult to read. I mean, it was a tongue twister, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with a lot of people that said that they only read the 1611, and I always thought when I grew up we were reading the 1611 King James Bible. I always thought that's what we were reading until Danny and I got a copy of the 1611, and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way we can read it.
So you have a copy that has been revised, so it's in modern English where you understand what it says, because the 1611 really is in Shakespearean type talk. I mean, it was written based on the Shakespearean thing. It's just very hard to read.
Yeah. And Empress Jennifer is exactly right. Jesus was never his real name. His real name was Yeshua, or depending on the dialect, it could have been Yahushua. But it's really, I mean, when I studied Hebrew, I studied Hebrew just simply because I wanted to know my Messiah's native land, his native tongue, and everything like that. And I was blown away when I started studying Hebrew and learned that there was actually no J's in any language until about 1492. So technically, Jesus, the J's were not in the Hebrew anywhere. Jacob is not Jacob, it's Yaakov. John is not John, it's Yochanan. I mean, Jerusalem is not Jerusalem, it's Yarushalayim. I mean, you have to understand all these, everything has been changed. You have to go back to the original Hebrew Bibles like that in the Greek and Aramaic to understand the real translation of what something meant. Like in the Old Testament or the Tanakh, people, when Christ was hanging on the cross and he says, "It is finished," he only spoke 3 words. But back in that particular time, all they had to say was 3 words because the scriptures were written in scrolls and they were interpreted by using phrases. And when they spoke, "It is finished," the crowd automatically knew the passage in the scriptures that he was talking about there because of those 3 words. And he was dying from asphyxiation and he couldn't speak anymore. So he did what he knew to do to let the people know what was going on. And it's like when the cock crowed thrice, you know, did it or did it not have to do with a rooster? You know, I mean, when you study the original Hebrew, it had to do with the criers. The original people of that day had what was called a crier, someone who would watch for the first sliver of the moon to know, because they didn't have calendar. I mean, they had calendars, but they didn't know when the new moons were and this type of stuff. So they had criers. When they saw the first sliver of the moon, they knew it was a new moon at that time. It was a high holy day. I mean, there's different things that here in the West, we are not taught any of that kind of stuff. We're not taught anything about the feast days. We're not taught anything about high holy days or God's appointed times or any of this kind of stuff. We have been misled so bad in the scriptures that it's not even funny. And I've got to stop because I'll get off on a tangent.
And you can use the name Jesus Christ.
Yes, you can use the name.
We grew up with. That's what the English that we speak, that's what we do. But if you're going to go back to the original, or, I mean, even the 1611 was different. And then if you go back to the original Bible, well, there really wasn't, I don't remember when they actually put all the things together. But in the original text or scrolls, you know, it was written even different, and most of us can't read those scrolls.
Yeah.
So to say what they may have said in Jerusalem back then, to speak that language, the Aramaic, I don't speak Aramaic, so that doesn't come natural to me. But the name Jesus Christ does, because that's what I grew up with. That's the language we speak. If you were in Mexico, they may say it different. Or if you were in Germany, they may say it different. The Chinese may have a different way. It all means the same thing, Jesus Christ or Yahushua or Yeshua, according to where you're from.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, guys, it can get to be confusing. And you do have to have an open mind, you know, about a lot of things. Yeah. Because, you know, there's a scripture in the Old Testament that says we have inherited lies from our fathers. And over time, King James was a practicing homosexual, and when he had the Bible rewritten, he had a political agenda behind it. But even though he had it rewritten, it still was the infallible Word of God. I mean,
God allowed it.
God permitted it. I mean, he did. Did he leave things out? Yeah, he left stuff out. Because he had a political agenda behind it. You go back to the original manuscript and you'll find there's lots of stuff he left out of it. As a matter of fact, in your modern Bibles, you'll have words that's wrote in italics, which means that they've been added, you know, to the Bible. They were not in the original manuscript. They were words that were added to it. So, you know, it's all depends on what you want to do.
Thank you. My daughter Amy is in here, and she said happy birthday. So thank you, Amy. Where we at? Her husband actually called today and volunteered his sons to bale hay.
Yeah. Well, was it
pick up hay?
is it today or yesterday was Rosh Hashanah? The Feast of Trumpets?
Well, you have to flip the calendar. I don't know.
I think it's a Feast of Trumpets.
You can take it down.
I probably will.
If you need to.
I'm using my thumb. I can't feel to.
Yeah, that's what I said. Take it down. All you gotta do is lift. Let me see if it's on there.
Is it on here? I think it's either today or yesterday was Rosh Hashanah.
The 15th yesterday.
It was yesterday was Rosh Hashanah.
Starting at sunset.
Well, it'd be today then, yeah. It started at sunset yesterday.
Yeah, and goes through today. Yom Kippur is the 24th.
Yeah, we go into Yom Kippur.
And I'm not
Day of Atonement.
And Columbus Day.
Oh. Go figure.
And then we get into Halloween.
Yeah. Today is a Day of Atonement.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying feast. All right, so.
Okay, that is not going to hang back up.
No, it won't. I mean, you will if you ring that little round peg. Yeah.
There we go.
You did it.
I did it. Okay. Okay.
Yes, people are putting up prayer requests. My daughter put up Dito Williamson family. He fell from 20 foot. Passed away. My son was actually working with him when that happened, and
no, we don't get into trouble by reading in the name of Jesus or God and reading the new Bibles. No, we don't get into trouble with that.
We may before long, but we don't yet.
Yeah, in the very near future, the name Jesus Christ will be outlawed. It's coming. Trust me.
Where are we at? 16-month-old being referred to a specialist for a kidney transplant. Pray for our country. Yes. Pray for our world. I mean, it's not just our country anymore. It's the whole world. Ellen says pray for her eyes. Danny's been having a few.
I have a lot of eye issues also. I got a lot of detached retinas and different things going on, I believe, and
something's going on because he had a spell yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's having them at least once a week, once every week and a half. Do you have any videos where you are preaching? I would love it if you could do a sermon, please.
We have another channel called All God's Children. There's several videos over there where I preach on that particular.
He did about 6 or 8 or 10.
There's probably more than that over there. There's several
maybe 10. I don't know. It's not a lot, but and he started incorporating that into porch time. So, you know, doing things. You can go back and watch a lot of his old porch times.
Duke CC says, Danny, is my soil in my container settling or are my plants using it? We did a video on that very subject here a while back, and we have earthworms in ours, and the earthworms actually eat the soil, and the soil, we fill our pots completely to the top, and by the end of growing season they're down 6 or 8 inches in it because the worms have eat all the soil and turned it into worm castings and stuff like that. And plus the plants use nutrition out of the soil. They don't actually use the soil up. But yes, soil does go down in containers over the period of a year.
Saffron Bay says to pray for Katie Fields. She collapsed and is still not responding. Let's see where we at now. Liz says pray for her son and grandson, unspoken. Sandra for cataract surgery. My daughter is having surgery, Amy, in a little over a week. I think it's not this coming week, but the week after, I believe. And
there is someone else I was supposed to mention, and I can't think of who it was.
I know.
I hate that.
Something keeps tugging at the brain. And
yeah, I know it. There was somebody I was supposed to pray for or mention and all, and I just, honest to goodness, I am so sorry. I cannot remember. I'm so tired. I can't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, my daughter said her surgery's the 25th. Okay.
Oh well. Anyway,
I know there was something else.
We gotta pray.
I know that, but I just.
Well, before we pray, guys,
it's fixing to be carrot season.
It's fixing to be carrot season, and I wanted to mention to you guys to get your carrots ready to plant. We have a manual to show you how we do it. We're going to be getting our beds ready at the end of September in Zone 8 for planting carrots. And we'll be getting our onion seeds ready to start going in the ground and stuff like that also.
All right. Now, Charles asked this earlier, and I was going to answer, what brand of soil tester do you use? We just got a soil tester from Grower Solution that Danny and I are going to be showing what to do with. Hopefully this next week. We hadn't done the video yet.
Right.
But, they sent us a soil test. You have to send it off, but it's the kit. You buy it and then you send it to somebody to have it the analysis done. So we're gonna walk you through that step, and then we'll come back and do a video when the analysis comes back. How long did it say it took? It wasn't long.
It wasn't long. It was like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, something. So it's not a long period. So be looking for that video soon. And what else? I don't remember. Stuff. When I'm tired, I don't remember things.
Anyway, we need to pray, guys. Father, we're thankful tonight. You've been good to us this week, Lord. We got a little bit of rain, got an inch or so of rain, and that we're grateful for. Looks like tomorrow there's a cool front coming through, and we're not going to get any cooler, but the humidity's supposed to go down for us, so that'll be good, and we're thankful for that. And we've been able to accomplish a lot this week. We thank you for that. Lord, there's a lot of prayer requests going up tonight now. There's a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on. People having got cancer. I saw several things talking about that. And people are mentioning tonight that people are just collapsing and heart stopping and stuff like that. And Lord, and have people having to be revived. I don't know what's going on with that. But Father, I know you know. You're the great physician. You know how to fix it. You know how to heal it. And sometimes we have to have doctors. I mean, we have to, use some wisdom there. And I pray that the ones who have to have doctors, Lord, that you'll guide the surgeon's hands. I saw people said they having surgery in the future. And Lord, we need you to guide these doctors' hands as they go into our bodies and try to work on them, Father, and try to make them new. One lady needed some cataract surgeries. I'm praying that she can get that done. And Father, there's just been a ton of things that went through here, and I just pray that that tonight we can have some healing going on, Father. And I'm speaking healing on all these people's bodies here tonight, even my own body, Ms. Wanda's body. Lord, you know every day of my life I speak healing on our bodies now, and I believe that it can happen, and I pray that you'll make it happen, and I pray that you'll do it in a way that, Lord, only you'll get the glory from. So we'll be careful, to praise you and give you the honor and the glory for everything in our lives. Lord, you know every day of our life we sit down and we talk to you. Sometimes we feel like we just bugged the devil out of you because we don't ever stop talking to you. And I know you probably think, gosh, does this guy ever shut up? But Lord, I just feel the necessity to just pray without ceasing constantly all day. And Lord, I pray tonight for the ones that's in the chat here, if they have a request that they didn't even mention, Lord, because maybe it was too personal, that you would step in and you would even answer that prayer, Lord. And Father, there's people that are hurting psychologically. There's people that's hurting mentally, and people that are hurting financially, people that don't know where they are spiritually, Lord. I pray for all these different categories of prayers and people, that they can be answered and that people can find peace and grace. And Lord, I have close friends that's lost their spouses and loved ones in the last couple of weeks, and Father, the pain of losing a loved one really don't settle in until usually a week or two later, and I'm just praying that they can find some sort of solace or rest or just peace, Father, from being alone now. So we love you and we appreciate you. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Okay. My poor old water is just nothing. Ice now.
All right. So what are you got a tip, or you forgot?
Well, let's see.
Let's see what kind of tip you're coming up with.
Let's see. We got a little bit of...
Grab my water and sit back.
You know, we forget to pray for those that are physically and mentally abused, because there's a lot of people out there in relationships that spouses and children and stuff like that, we look at them because we don't see any marks on their bodies, and we say that, well, they're not being abused. But sometimes mental abuse is actually worse than physical abuse. You know, physical abuse a lot of times will heal and you can go on about your life. But mental abuse many times will be carried for a lifetime. I mean, I know people who were not only mentally abused but sexually abused, and it's haunted them their entire lives. They've had very difficult time, you know, getting past and getting beyond it. I've helped a lot of people through some of these hard times, and you know, no one is immune to it.
No.
I mean, that's the thing about it. It can be any one of us can be hit mentally. And you know, let me say this while we're there. What we have coming in this country in the very near future, your worst battle that you're going to fight is going to be the mental battle. That is going to be, there's going to be about 3 battles you're going to fight, and the mental one is going to be the worst one you're going to fight. You're going to fight a spiritual battle and you're going to fight a physical battle, but the worst one you're going to fight is going to be the mental one. Because you can get through the spiritual one, you can get through the physical one, but when that mental one hits you, sometimes, I mean, I used to always say this whenever I was working with men, I would never take a man into a battle situation that had not ever pulled a trigger on someone. And the reason of that being is because someone who has never been there, you don't know how they're going to react, because they might do it one time and the mental side of them may break down, and then you have to take, and you carrying someone with you. So, you know, you've got to understand that the mental concept of life many times is the worst thing for any of us to deal with. The prime example of that is today anxiety, depression, you know, all of these types of things are brought on basically because of mineral deficiencies in the body, but also because of demons and stuff like that. They get a hold of people, and people can't get away from them because they're tampering with stuff they got no business tampering with. They're opening their mind up to areas that that they have no business opening their mind up to, allowing these entities, let's just use that word, to have free reign in their life. They're messing with things they got no business messing with, and then they wonder why things are happening to them, and it's because we are doing things we have no business doing, you know, and
not staying close to the Lord.
We're not staying as close to God, you know, as we need to. And I'm just telling you, I mean, that's not my tip for tonight. My tip for tonight is not. Oh,
that was a freebie?
No, that was a freebie there. This is not my tip for tonight. This is all just freebie.
That was a tip.
No. This is not my tip for tonight. We have a lot of things coming in this country, and the mental abuse is going to be the worst that you're going to have to deal with. But the tip for tonight is, let's just get to that, is get ready now for what's coming this winter. Because we have been in a La Nina for the last 3 years. This year we've been in an El Nino, and we've not had an El Nino this bad, as far as my understanding is, since the 1950s, or that I've been able to go back and find. So this winter is going to be a roller coaster winter for a lot of people. Just expect your winter to be different than what you normally have. Now, is it going to snow? Yes, it's still going to snow where it always snows at. Is it going to be freezing cold? Yes, it's going to be freezing cold where it's always freezing cold at. Is it going to be hot? Yes, it's going to be hot where it's always hot at. But there's going to be snow in places that there's normally not snow. There's going to be heat in places that there's normally not heat. I have information all the way through to February of next year that's been given to me. And guys, it is a wacky ride coming for this winter. And not only that, there's some things from Big Brother up the chain that may possibly happen this winter. We know October the 4th through the I don't know, the 11th or something like that. We're going to have the testing of the emergency broadcast system. Now, stop for just a moment and ask yourself, why would we be doing that all of a sudden? Well, we're doing that all of a sudden is because our nation is scared right now. All the scenarios have been ran for possible things to happen in this country, and it's not looking good. And our government is really nervous right now. So they're going to make sure that the emergency broadcast system is working like it should. And I am actually speaking in riddles tonight, so you'll have to kind of read into what I'm saying, because I cannot say specific things. But there is you read in the scriptures where it talks about there's a very large army of a particular group of people that at the end times, well, you know what? That group of people is already here. They're totally unaccounted for right now. They're here in the United States right now. So that's another thing that has Big Brother worried, is because there's all these people here from another country, and they're of the military age that is prime, and right now around 70% of all of our college people that's signing up to go to school now are foreign nationals. So if any of this will tell you anything, then you will soon figure out what I'm talking about, because our future is not looking real good for the near future, So that's why I'm telling you to get prepared for this winter. Not only your food, your water. As a matter of fact, there's people watching the municipal water systems right now, which is not good. Heat.
Multiple clothes. Make sure you have jackets, socks.
Yes.
All kinds of clothes that keep you warm. If there was a power
If there was a power, we're using the word
blankets.
if. There probably will be, but let's just use the word if. Theoretically, or hypothetically speaking, or allegedly, let's use the word allegedly speaking, that there might be a power outage, or allegedly speaking that,
even if it's for just 1 week.
Yeah.
Can you survive your cold? Because Danny and I, our cold is not that bad. We can bundle up in one room and we can make it through a week without power. That's not a big deal. But some of you live in places that a week without power is devastating to you. So do you have a way? Do you have extra clothes? Do you have extra blankets? Do you have a way to heat food, or do you just have? Do you even have food?
Right.
Because if it's so cold that you can't hardly stay warm in your one room of your house, there's no way you're going to get out and try to stumble to a grocery store to buy food every day. And so, you know, keep a supply, even if it's only a week or two ahead. That helps you that much further till you acclimate and start getting kind of set up. But I would prefer you have at least a month to 2 months supply of food in your house. But a week is a good start.
Let me say this before we get off of here. None of this is taking God by surprise. Okay? He says in Matthew 24, all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. If he is the one who is orchestrating all of these events that's taking place, they're for your benefit and for my benefit. We're never meant to be a part of this world. This world is not my home. The old song says, I'm just a passing through. So, what he's causing or allowing to happen on the earth is not for you and it's not for me. If we're his children, it's for everything else around us. And he is going to take care of us if we are looking, watching, and waiting for him. That's why he said, look up, your redemption draweth nigh. So guys, you know, go read Romans chapter 1. That needs to be your mission for the first part of this week. Read Romans chapter 1. I think in the first 15 verses of the first chapter, your eyes are going to be blown away as to where we're already at. Read it slow, digest every word, and you'll be blown away. All right, we got to get off here, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. And thank you from Deep South Homestead.